lichen, leaves, and, moss. Oh my! Hi everyone, I'm Catherine, the artist behind Bigelow Fine Arts. I'm continuing on the Forest Owlets in Kirby Rosanes' Fragile World. I have the full list of colors on my blog on Patreon, so go grab that if you need it. I'm giving this leaf a base layer of earth green yellowish just to cover up the white of the paper. I then come in with chrome oxide green and begin to lay out some of the shaping for the leaf. I add in more shading to the furthest part of the leaf, and for the nearest part of the leaf I add in a little shadow along each rib line. This will make it look like the leaf pillows up a little between each rib. I come back in with earth green yellowish and blend everything together, also adding in more layers to the lighter parts of the leaf, which means coming back in with the chrome oxide green and darkening up the contrast a little more to get the shadows to stand out a little more and to refine the shape just a bit. I add in a bit of shadow to the bottom edge of the leaf as well. If this is your first time visiting, welcome! I have the playlist linked above, but feel free to pick up right here, and then you can visit the rest later. On to the next set of leaves down near the bottom, and I will work these up the same way. I begin with a base layer of earth green yellowish and cover the whole leaf on all 3 leaves. I come in with the chrome oxide green and shade the leaves up along the ribs, and for the face that is furthest away, I give that more shading as well. I blend the shading out with more earth green yellowish, and I add in more layers to the lighter parts of the leaves. Since this darkens everything up a little more, I come back in with the chrome oxide green and bring up the contrast a little more in the same places I put it down on the first pass. This second pass really makes a difference. On to the last set of leaves, and I put down a layer of earth green yellowish over all of the leaves to cover the white of the paper. I'm using a light hand on these layers, but I do add more than just one light layer. For the shadows, I again use chrome oxide green, and I put it along the ribs as well as on any parts of the leaves that are further away. One leaf actually curls up and over so I can see some of the underside of the leaf, and I give that a good layer of shading, as it is shading itself. I blend everything together with more earth green yellowish while also adding in more layers to the lightest part of the leaves. I essentially put down several light layers over the whole leaf, covering both the chrome oxide green and the previous layers of earth green yellowish. Finally, I come back and I really touch up those shadows again with chrome oxide green and really help make them pop against the earth green yellowish. Onto the moss, or lichen, or whatever these are. There are some mushrooms also mixed into the trunk that I will not be working on, but I might have accidentally colored some of them green. If they are mixed in with the moss, they got colored green. So I went through and I tried to find all the lichen and moss clumps, and I gave them a base layer of earth green yellowish just so I could see where they all were and what I was working on. That done, I came in with green gold and I colored in the tips of the clumps to make them lighter and to also give them a more yellowish hue. I come in with the chrome oxide green and begin adding in shadows at the base of the clumps, and sometimes in the middle depending on how the clumps look and what the line writer is telling me. I am using a scribbly motion and not a filling circular motion, so I have a little texture to the moss or lichen than if everything were kept smooth. I blend everything together with more earth green yellowish. For the blending, I am using a smoothing motion rather than a more scribbly motion. I want the blends to be a little smoother, but I will never be able to blend out the texture unless I am simply covering it with a darker color. So the texturing strokes will remain and help give some character to the clumps. I bring back the green gold as I wanted to fill in the tips a little more, and I am using a scribbly motion on parts of the inside of the lichen to have other points with lighter areas. For even more texture and to knock back the yellow just a little, I come in with olive green yellowish and scribble in a little bit of a greenish color to complement with the green gold. And that covers these lichen moss clumps for now. But I wanted to add in some more layers to the background. While it is covered, it can always use more layers to smooth out the coverage and fill in the paper even more. The rest of the page is rather busy with details, but the background has no details, and less than smooth coverage will be more noticeable. So I add in more juniper green over everything, which will also help knock back some of the brightness of the yellow spots. I have this sped up so it will go pretty quickly, but I'm using the earth green yellowish and earth green on the lighter spots. For the darker spots, I add in more layers of permanent green before hitting the background with more chrome oxide green to keep darkening it up a little. A little more green gold, followed by more chrome oxide green for the background, and that is a little more of the background finished. There is still more background that needs more layers, but I'm stopping here for now. Thanks for joining me on the lichens and mosses today. Let me know below or on social media if you colored along. I'd love to know how you did. I want to thank you all so much for coming along and joining in with me on this coloring journey. I appreciate all my subscribers, and I look forward to more of you joining in and coloring along with me. Please like, share, and subscribe to help that happen. Until next time, happy coloring.